Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Now today I'm going to be making some brownies, but just not ordinary brownies. I'm going to be making a raspberry and cheesecake brownie. So that's a brownie with cheesecake mixture and raspberries on the top and then baked in the oven. So for that we're going to need our brownie mixture, which starts off with 185 grams of butter and 185 grams of dark chocolate, and I put those into a bain-marie, which is a double boiler, and I've just boiled the water or simmered the water until the chocolate and the butter have melted into this nice smooth mixture that you can see here. So I'm going to set that to one side and I'll go through the other ingredients. So for the rest of the brownie I have 85 grams of plain flour, 275 grams of golden caster sugar, though you could use caster sugar or granulated, that would be fine. I have 40 grams of cocoa powder, 3 medium eggs, which would be large in the USA, and optional I have 50 grams of milk chocolate chips and 50 grams of white chocolate chips, which I'm going to add into the mixture. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to do it. Then for the cream cheese mixture I have 400 grams of cream cheese, 1 medium egg, again large in the USA, 30 grams of caster sugar, 20 grams of plain flour and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I have my oven preheating at 180 Celsius, that's 360 Celsius with a fan, 180 Celsius, 160 Celsius with a fan, and 350 Fahrenheit. And I also have an 8-inch baking cake tin, square, which I have lined with tin foil so that it's easy to take the mixture out after it's baked, or the brownie out after it's baked, should I say. So I'll set that to one side as well, and we'll get on with mixing the next lot of ingredients. So I'm going to put in 3 eggs into my stand mixer. You could do this with a hand mixer or with a whisk if you wanted to, but it's easier with a stand mixer than a whisk, certainly. I'll put the sugar in as well, 275 grams of sugar, and I'm going to beat that until it's pale and fluffy and has doubled in size. That's going to take 7 or 8 minutes probably. Right, so I've whisked that. I changed from my beater to my whisk because it actually is more effective with these yolks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that into another bowl. It's just for ease of mixing the other ingredients, because the mixing bowl has a dimple in the middle, a raised dimple, or a mound rather than a raised dimple, I suppose you would call it, which makes it a little bit more difficult to properly mix the ingredients. And with that, I'm then going to take the chocolate, which is now cooled down somewhat, and I'm going to pour that in and mix that in until it's combined. But I'm going to mix it gently. I don't want to knock the air out of these eggs if I can avoid it. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to take the flour and put the cocoa powder into it, and I'm going to mix the two together. Just to get them combined, and then I'm going to sift that into this chocolate and egg mixture, because cocoa powder tends to clump and have some lumps, and we want to break those down. Okay, and then we're going to gently fold that in to the mixture. Again, trying not to knock too much air out of the egg. And then, when that's mixed in, we're going to sprinkle, and this is the optional part, you don't have to do this, the chocolate chips, and just mix those in as well. So with that brownie mix all combined, we're going to pour that into our cake tin. And then we're going to just push it to make sure we get it into the corners, and then use our spatula to even it off a little bit. And that's about it. So we'll set that aside, and then the next thing to do is to take another bowl and we're going to mix our cream cheese mixture. Now I should say that I also have raspberries to hand, which I've washed and dried, and I'm only going to use about 12. I have rather more than that, but I'm only going to use about 12. So with our cream cheese mixture, we'll put our egg, the vanilla extract, the 20 grams of plain flour, and the 30 grams of caster sugar. And we're going to beat those together until they're all combined. And with that mixture combined, we're now ready to ladle that or spoon it onto our cake, onto our brownie mix. So I'm just going to take a couple of spoons. We don't want to pour it in and then spread it around too much, because it will actually start to spread into the brownie mixture. So with that cream cheese mixture in, we're going to gently spread it without disturbing the brownie mixture below as much as we possibly can, and avoiding spreading the brownie mixture below as much as we possibly can. Trying to push it into the corners as well. Okay, and with that done, we're just going to put our raspberries in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to push them down a little bit, because as it bakes I don't want them burning too much. That's probably in the wrong place, but it'll be okay. I want to get 3 in one row, and 4 in another row. So I can cut it into 12. And with that, I'm going to put it in the oven. It looks like this. I'm going to put it in the oven and I'm going to bake it for 45 to 50 minutes until a skewer comes out clean. And then I'm going to let it cool down completely before I try to take it out of the cake tin. And once I've taken it out of the oven and allowed it to cool, I'll be back with you to show you the results. Okay, so I'm back with you now, and I've taken the brownies out of the oven. Now I did underestimate the cooking time. I said 45 to 50 minutes, and I checked mine after 45 minutes. I used a skewer and it was very wet inside still, so I baked it for a further 15 minutes, and I checked it and it was still a little bit wet and it was wobbly on top, but I turned the heat off and I left it in the oven just as it was for about 30 minutes. Then I took it out of the oven and allowed it to cool down a little before I took it out of the pan. But because of all the chocolate in it, we know that it's going to be very moist. So I've cut it and I've packed the others away ready to take somewhere else. And I've already eaten part of this one. But as you can see, it's very moist inside. And you've got the cream cheese and you have the raspberry. So I'll just take a bite of that. It's very, very good. You've got that really rich chocolate with the dark chocolate, the milk chocolate and the white chocolate. So moist. Then you've got the cream cheese topping and the hit of raspberry as well. Very, very good indeed. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video, and also click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on to get to the recipe, and I'll also put a link to the recipe below the video so you can click on that as well. And I'll be back with you with another recipe very soon. One of the things I'm going to be doing is to make a 3-part video of making Christmas cake. As we come up to the Christmas season, traditional Christmas cake takes a long time to make. Basically, you make the cake and then you soak it in brandy, and then you leave it, and then you soak it, and you keep feeding it with brandy for a few weeks. Then you put your marzipan on top of it and cover it all over with marzipan. Then you leave that to dry, and then you put your traditional icing, which is royal icing, which is not that fondant soft stuff. It's the royal icing that goes hard and forms a hard seal on the cake. That's the last step that you need to do, and all of that takes a few weeks. So I'm going to be starting that now, and if you want to make a Christmas cake in the traditional way, you can follow each episode as I do them, and if you follow them shortly after I put them online, then you'll have a Christmas cake ready in time for Christmas. So that's going to be it for today. I'll be back with you soon, and until then, happy baking.